Yo, 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 DJ Kryptonite here. Boxing talk, news, gossip, all that. Like and subscribe. Got some news. Well, not really news. Floyd just recently did an interview um, with Shannon Sharp, and he mentioned the fact that he should be in everybody's top five for top five greatest of all time. And and he has a point, but it's kind of hard to compare eras or decades or that sort of thing, because things change so significantly. Like Sugar Ray Robinson had like 200 and some odd fights or something to that effect. So, it's kind of hard to compare eras, but he's right. In this era, he's definitely number one, or arguably number one, of greatest of all time in this era. But crossing eras, uh, that's a difficult one to argue. So, but I was just wondering what everybody's thoughts were. But again, Floyd has a point. He retired 50-0, multiple weight divisions, and again, you can't compare this to fighters from the 40s and 50s, because some of these weight classes weren't even in play. So you got super middleweight, junior middleweight, super welterweight, junior welterweight, all of these classes. So it's probably easier to go from weight class to weight class. So it's kind of a hard argument to make, because Pacquiao may have eight-time or eight-division champion. In fact, if he was fighting in the 50s or whatever, he may have only went through two or three weight classes. So it's just a different era, different time, different number of rounds. Back then they were fighting 15 rounds. In the knockdown rule, the ref didn't get in the way. They wait for him to get up, and just as soon as he got up, the other box was right on top of him. There was no such thing as a standing 8 count or that sort of thing. So it was just a number of different things that would actually impact arguably the greatest fighter of all time. Now we can go skills wise. Floyd has some of the best skills that any boxer has ever seen, anybody's ever witnessed. Because not only was he an offensive fighter in the beginning of his career, he became a defensive fighter late in his career, or middle to late. So I would say Floyd has to be, if you had to argue the greatest fighter of all time, he has to be top five. But as I said, comparing eras is problematic, because you got different rules, different circumstances, different weight classes. So that's very difficult to do. But if I had to do it, I would probably put Floyd in my top five, and potentially number one. So it's just a number of fighters out there that had great skill sets, great careers over decades, throughout the history of boxing. So very difficult to do, but I think Floyd made a good point, because if you put him up against any of the greatest of all time, or any of the greats, he measures up to him pretty well, all things considered. So just my thought. Like, subscribe, hit the like button, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it if you have any. But again, is Floyd Mayweather in everybody's top five? I think he may be. DJ Kryptonite out. Deuces.